Hey, hi, good morning. It's been since July 22nd that I've made one of these sharings. Long time. Part of the reason it was hot, part of the reason is I've been living my life, I guess, for lack of a better term, just being and living in the moment, enjoying life, living large. But it's been hot. And it's just starting to cool off here. And with the lights, and I got ambient light out here from the sun. I hope that's not too much in that corner. Then I have another light kind of spotlight at me, and overhead light tends to get warm. And I like to wear my regalia, you know. I like my threads. I like my reminder of one amongst the many. One amongst the many. But not separate. United. Connected. And that's the important thing. Not one standing alone. One standing among many. And that's what this is for, as a reminder. Just for me. Everything I do is geared towards, aimed towards sort of a stimulation. A reminder, if you will. Better yet, a minder. It's my minder. I don't have anyone else that looks after me. But maybe that day is coming quicker than I'd like to be necessary, like to accept. The other day I went on a nice 12-kilometer hike in the beautiful mountains here in Taiwan on a very famous historical trail with many Japanese relics. The Japanese actually built a couple of police stations in the mountains, and were not only watching the natives, the Renjumen, the indigenous people, for signs of revolt against their regime in their 50 years of colonization. But they also educated the children, improved the infrastructure. And much of Taiwan's modern miracle is really due to the vision and the planning of the Japanese occupiers. It's ironic that out of the bad comes the good, and the other thing, out of the good comes the bad. So we're talking today about what I call 1,000 U's, which harkens back to the Korean Zen master that I've mentioned before, who had such a profound impact on me almost 30 years ago in a lecture that I attended. Was gifted, was lucky, was guided to attend at the University of Hawaii. And he asked the one question: who is I, me, my? And today we're talking about the same thing. I'm just rephrasing it as into 1,000 U's. Because there's the you that we've grown to know. Each and every one of us has our own unique vision of who they are. Who is me? Who is I, me, my? Who are you? And each individual carefully constructs a self-image. And the irony is that this self-image is not shared by anyone else. Each and every person that crosses your path, more or less, or more, constructs their vision of you, their idea of you. So if you add that up in a course of a lifetime, that's where the thousands came from. The thousands of you, that if I could put all the me's in this room together with me right now, that everyone I've ever crossed paths with, everyone that went to everyone that was, I made enough impact that they formed, no matter how vague, how nebulous, a vision of me. And in my 71 years, maybe I'm flattering myself, I don't know. But I imagine there to be thousands of different people that I've contacted, that I've crossed paths with, that it's each and every one, those that took the time, whether it's on a conscious level or a subconscious level, it doesn't matter at all. But they constructed a me. And the funny thing is their vision of me is no more accurate or inaccurate of my vision of me. Of course, familiarity. I've managed to make a quite nuanced, a multi-tiered or multi-leveled construct. But again, just because I had more time and motivation, because who's more interested in me than me? Who cares more about our ego than that ego itself? So we're heavily vested in this me, this image of me. But because of the ultimately illusory nature of nature is something that you come to terms with along the way. It's not always an easy process. For me personally, it was a little easier because I've always given just as much validity to my dreams as my waking state. So I was not heavily invested in my concept of my environment. Of course, heavily invested in my concept of me. But my surroundings, because I could never really I always gave credence, and sometimes I deferred to the dreaming state. And I break the dreaming state down to two things: daydreaming, dreaming while supposedly awake, with my eyes open at least, and dreaming at night, or sometimes it's daytime if I'm taking a nap, but the dreams of sleep. And we know that the dreams of sleep can, when you wake up in the morning, I make an effort to remember my dreams, because within the dreams can be a message that will be very useful, that I keep my mind working on problems or issues or things that I assign to it, using it for what it's meant to be, a tool for review.